Apple just released iOS 16.4 Beta 4 for registered developers and soon for public beta testers. And along with this iOS update, we also got the fourth beta for iPadOS 16.4, macOS 13.3, watchOS 9.4, tvOS 16.4, and HomePodOS 16.4. But of course, in this video, we are talking all about iOS and iPadOS 16.4 Beta 4. Now, let's start off with the size of this update. And you can see here, it came in at 600.2 megabytes on my 14 Pro Max, a relatively large update for a fourth beta. So let's go and check out the build number. If we go to our settings, general about, we can see that the new build number is 20E5239B. So we do have a B at the end of the build number, which does indicate we are very close to a final release. And as far as the modem firmware, that is 1.67.04. All right, so now what's new here in beta 4? And the first thing is the widget on the lock screen for the battery has been fixed. So the biggest bug in beta 3 was that the battery widget would not show what it was actually showing the battery percentage for, but now it shows our connected device, which in this case is the AirPods, and that shows that that is the charge level for that. So that was broken and it is now fixed, along with the weather. So weather had issues on both the lock screen and on the home screen, and you can see that is fixed there on the lock screen and also fixed on the home screen as well. Before, it would just show up gray and it wouldn't show any data there until you rebooted. If we head into our iCloud settings and go to the iCloud section and then down to advanced data protection, you will notice that the icons have been reverted. So for the past two betas, these icons were bugged out and it would show like the macOS version of the icon. And some people thought that was a hint at iOS 17 icons, but it looks like that was just a bug and those icons have been reverted back to show the iOS version of those specific icons. When I opened up the Books application for the first time on beta 4, I got this new splash screen. It doesn't show any new features. It doesn't have like a bullet point list of new features like splash screens usually do, but I just got this the first time I went into Books, and that was the first time I saw a splash screen on any of the 16.4 betas. But I didn't notice anything new in the actual Books application itself when it comes to the page turn animation or anything like that. Although I will say that the animation seems a little bit smoother here in beta 4. It seemed like it was a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more dramatic, and it kind of had a little bit of a lag to it on beta 3, but now in beta 4, that page turn animation is flawless. If we head back into our settings and go to general, down to VPN and device management, and then go into the VPN section, you will see that under add VPN configuration, we have a new sentence. So here's what it was like previously. It just said add VPN configuration, and there was nothing under that. But now we have a little description that says VPNs can be set up to control the routing of certain network traffic. And when you tap on about VPNs and privacy, we get this new little splash screen here that kind of informs you and tells you more about what a VPN does for your privacy. If we head into the music application and go to the search section, you will notice that we have an Apple Music Classical section here now. So this has been added server side. This is not specific to 16.4 beta 4, but I didn't mention this previously. So there's a new section here where you can pre-order the application. You can watch the teaser and kind of learn a little bit more about Apple Music Classical. Now, something else I wanted to mention that I found very interesting is also inside of the VPN and device management section, and it's that my profile is gone. My profile for the iOS 16 betas has just been removed automatically. So I did not remove this, and I've never had an issue with it before, but now all of a sudden after beta 4, it has been completely removed. And this happened to several people in my Discord server as well, and they reported that after they reinstalled the profile, it did not remove itself. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess Apple is kind of planning for the future with the whole, you need to be a registered developer and have that ID associated with your account. But for whatever reason, my profile has been removed. Now, it did not prevent me from getting the update, and I doubt it's going to prevent me from getting future updates, but it is something I did want to mention. I think this could also hint at the fact that Apple is not going to have profiles for developer betas in the future. Maybe starting with iOS 17, we're only going to see those profiles files for the public betas. When it comes to the release notes, there's really nothing changed here with the beta 4 release notes. They show everything that we saw in beta 3 and I believe in beta 2 as well. I don't believe that the release notes have really changed since beta 2. So you're not really going to see anything different in here, nothing very noteworthy, although I would assume by the time the RC and the final rolls out, we will see a change to these release notes. Now, as far as the performance and battery life goes, I am going to run a quick Geekbench 6 test, but as I mentioned in previous videos, I did not notice any improvement in performance or battery life going from beta 2 to beta 3, and now going from beta 3 to beta 4, I would not expect any difference either. However, we will see what these Geekbench scores are and compare it to the previous beta, and as far as battery life goes, I will not be able to tell you about battery life until I've actually used the software for a little bit, so stay tuned for my Apple Weekly episode on Saturday, where I will share any insight if battery life got better or worse. All right, so we actually scored a higher single core and a higher multi-core score here with beta 4, so a 2524 on the single core and a 6406 on the multi-core, both higher than beta 3, which is kind of expected for a B at the end of the build number. It's usually more stable, so not too surprising there. Let's see if it actually makes a difference after I've used the software for a little while. And then finally, let's talk about what to expect next from Apple. So next up is going to be a toss-up. It's either going to be iOS 16.4 beta 5 or the RC or release candidate build of iOS 16.4. Now, this is a 50-50 of which one it's going to be at this point, because according to Mark Gurman, iOS 16.4 is coming in April. So if that were the case, that would mean that we would get beta 5 next week, and then the RC the following week on that final week of March, and then the release of 16.4 on the first week of April. However, on March 28th, we have multiple Apple related things happening. So we have Apple Music Classical getting released, we have Emergency SOS in other countries, we have things going on with Sonos. So it makes logical sense for Apple to kind of do everything at once. Usually when they release things like that, it's coincided with the release of a new iOS version. So in that case, we could see iOS 16.4 on the week of the 27th or on the 27th itself. So like I said, it's really 50-50 at this point as to when we can see the 16.4 final release. I think that next week really is going to tell us everything we need to know. So if we get the RC, it's most likely that we're going to get the final on the week of the 27th. If we get a 5th beta, that means we're going to get RC on the week of the 27th, and then a final on April 3rd or the week of April 3rd. But of course, as always, keep it locked to the channel and I will bring you the latest updates in terms of 16.4. So that is the 4th beta of iOS 16.4. Really not a ton going on. I mean, it was a 600 megabyte update, which does indicate there should be more changes. So there probably are other changes hidden in the code, and I will talk about those and any other changes I find in my Apple Weekly series, which launches on Saturday every single week. So make sure you tune into that video if you want to see even more features and changes in iOS 16.4. But if you guys find anything new, if you have any comments on 16.4, beta 4, or anything else, let me know in those comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. But anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.